Oh baby, I love your madness. It's so incredibly beautiful.
Welcome to the very first a bit more advanced lesson of Baddleskool. In today's video we will talk about the weapon handling. I do apologize that the video is rather long, and if you're not interested into the basic knowledge, I've put some timestamps for you into the description. No matter which battlefield you're playing, you will need to know at least some basics of the weapon handling. In every battlefield title you will come across weapons which are easy or insanely tricky to handle. Since Battlefield Bad Company 2, you can add some attachments to your weapon to make it a little easier to handle. Those attachments were extended quite a bit in Battlefield 3 and even further in Battlefield 4. But for the sake of Baddleskool, we will focus on the weapons and attachments in Battlefield 4. To begin with, you should choose a weapon which is not entirely easy but also not insanely tricky to handle. My all-time favorite is the M41-6, which is an assault rifle. When choosing a weapon, please consider that LMGs might be a little too tricky to handle to start with, and SMGs may be a little too easy. Carbines or assault rifles are my recommended choice. Before we jump into the advantage and disadvantage of the attachments, let's talk about some necessary knowledge first. And by saying that, I mean the weapon's recoil and bullet spread. Every weapon has a unique recoil and bullet spread scheme. I won't bother you with all the different numbers, so don't you worry, as you won't need them anyway. To give you a good example, I've removed all the attachments from my M41-6, a part of the red dot sight, as it does not affect the recoil or spread at all. First, we focus on the spread. Spread is the term for something which you may know as spray. The first couple of rounds hit exactly the point you're aiming at, but every following bullet is hitting somewhere near the point you're aiming at, and the longer you keep shooting, the further away they will land. The overall accuracy and especially the spread is influenced by the position of your soldier. It can be decreased or increased depending on your movement, if you are standing, prone or crouching, or one of it combined with some movement. It also depends on how long you're shooting at your target. If you continuously fire at your target, the spread will reach its maximum amount rather quickly. To counteract that, you could use the single fire mode. However, switching back to the auto fire mode when needed does take some additional time, so that's maybe not the ideal solution. The best practice to counteract spread is the so-called tap fire. While aiming at your target, you tap your mouse button in a quick succession in order to shoot 3 or 4 bullets and put a short break in between those successions. By doing that, the spread will decrease a little in between the shots and it will lead into a higher precision. You will need to get used to tap firing, and it will need some training in order to do it perfect. The recoil is the vertical or horizontal, or a mix of both, pushback a weapon has when you start firing it. When you start firing a weapon, you will notice that it does go up and to the left or right if you do not counteract it by pulling down your mouse a little. Attachments can make weapon handling a lot easier and can help you a lot to counteract spread and recoil. If you have a hard time counteracting the recoil, I would recommend a muzzle attachment like the muzzle brake or flash hider, as they usually reduce the recoil a little. Another good attachment to counteract recoil are grips. Me personally, I prefer the angled or potato grip, but in the end you need to find out by yourself. Both of the before mentioned will reduce the recoil to a decent level in which it is rather easy to counteract. But keep in mind that attachments are not only giving you an advantage, they also carry some disadvantages. As example, a silencer makes weapon handling a lot easier, but it decreases the muzzle velocity quite a bit and your bullets will travel a lot slower. Or another good example are laser sights. They increase your precision when you're not using your sight, but they make it a lot easier for enemies to find out where you are. And with all that basic knowledge, we can finally jump ahead and shoot at some targets. But it is not very common that your enemy is standing around and waiting for you to shoot him. Instead, they keep moving like little ants. If you're aiming at a moving enemy like you would do on a standing soldier, you will hit him eventually, but a lot of shots will miss. I've put an example in slow motion and zoomed in on the screen for you. You will need to put your sight a little into the lead of a moving enemy, as you can see on the screen now. Depending on the distance between you and the enemy, the weapon you're using and the speed your enemy is moving with, you will need to increase the lead a tiny little bit. Have you seen how many more bullets hit the target? Now then, go ahead and jump into the test range. Make yourself familiar with the weapon you have chosen and do some test shooting. In the end, getting used to weapons and knowing how to handle them will need a lot of training. You need to grow a feeling for each weapon and the individual spread and recoil they have. I had a hard time getting used to the spread and recoil, and even 6 years after I started playing Battlefield, I still forget to counteract one of them sometimes. Oh, hold on, it's actually 7 years now. That's even more embarrassing. If you can handle both of them, well then you are on the way of the Hall of Fame in Battlefield. And that was actually a rhyme. And that's it for today's lesson, guys. In the next episode, we will talk about the in-game sound and how to use it to your advantage. I'm sure I will post some videos in the meantime while I'm working on the sound video, because YouTube has told me that when you have a gaming channel, you have to upload literally every day. I won't do that, but I want to try to upload some more stuff for you. If you did like this video, please leave me a comment or a like. And until we see us again, stay safe and stay out of trouble.